Good morning, student. It's me, Atul Verma, Babu Banarsidas University, Lucknow. Now, today we are going to discuss Web 2.0. Web 2.0, coined as such by Oriel and others between 1999 and 2004, moved the world on from static desktop web pages designed for information consumption and served from expensive servers to interact, experience, and user generated content that brought us Uber, Airbnb, Facebook, and Instagram. The rise of Web 2.0 was largely driven by three core layers of innovation: mobile, social, and cloud. With the launch of the iPhone in 2007, mobile internet access drastically broadened both the user base and the users of the web. We moved from dialing up the internet a few hours a day to home at our desktop to an always connected state, the web browsers. Mobile apps and personal notification were now in everyone's pocket. Until Friendster, MySpace, and then Facebook in 2004, the internet was a largely dark and anonymous place. These social networks coaxed users into good behavior and content generation, including, including recommendation and referral from pursuing as to share photos online with specific friend group to interesting and knowing travelers with our home on Airbnb and even getting into a stranger's car with Uber. Cloud commoditized and production and maintenance of internet pages and application. New Cloud provides aggregated and refined mass product personal computer hardware within a numerous vast data center located around the world. Companies could shift from buying and maintenance their own expensive and dedicated infrastructure upfront to renting storage, computer power and management tools on the go. Millions of interpret brain experiment could benefit from low cost resource that scale as their business grow. While the Web 2.0 wave is still bearing fruit, we are also seeing the first shoots of growth emerge from the next large paradigm shift in internet applications, logically entitled Web 3.0, as hard to believe as it might seem. Web 3.0, originally coined the semantic web by Tim Berners-Lee, the web originally inventor, is an even more fundamental disruption, one that in time will leave everything hitherto in its shade. It is a leap forward to open, trustless, and permissionless network. Open in that they are built from open source software built up by an open and accessible community of developers and executed in full view of the world. Trustless in that the network itself allows participants to interact publicly or privately without a trusted third party. Permissionless in that anyone, both user and suppliers, can participate without authorization from a governing body. The ultimate outcome of this new open, trustless, and permissionless network is the possibility to coordinate and incentives the long tail of work, service, data and content providers that are the disfranchised backdoor to many of world's most acute challenges such as health, food, finance, and sustainability. The Web 2.0 was driven by the advent of mobile, social, and cloud. Web 3.0 is built largely on three new layers of technological innovation: edge computing, decentralized data, network, and artificial intelligence. While in Web 2.0, recently commoditized personal computer hardware was repurposed in data centers. The shift to Web 3.0 is spreading the data center out to the edge and often right into our hands. Large legacy data centers are being supplemented by a multitude of powerful computing resources spread across phone, computers, applications, sensors, and vehicles, which are forecast to produce and consume 160 times more data 2025 as compared to 2010. Decentralized data networks are making it possible for these data generators, from an individual personal health data to a farmer crop data or a car's locations and performance data, to sell or barter their data without losing ownership control, giving up privacy or reliance on third-party middlemen. As such, decentralized data network can bring the entire long tail of data generator into the emerging data economy. Artificial intelligence and machine learning algorithms have become powerful enough to create useful, intended, sometimes life-saving predictions and actions. When layered on top of new decentralized data structures, giving access to a wealth of data that would be the envy of today's tech giants. The potential application go far beyond targeted advertising into areas like precious materials, drug design, and climate modeling. Web 3.0 enable a feature where distributed users and mechanisms are able to interact with data, value, and other counterparts via substrate of peer-to-peer network without the need for third parties. The result: a compatible, human-centric, and grievance-presenting computing fabrics for the next wave of the web. Web 2.0 refer to websites that emphasize user-generated content, easy of use, participatory culture, interoperability, compatibility with other products, system, and device for end user. The term was invented by Darcy Dunicky in 1999 and later popularized by Tim O'Reilly and Daily Doctor at the O'Reilly Media Web 2.0 conference in late 2004. The Web 2.0 framework specified only the design and use of website and does not place any technical demands or specification on designers. The transition was gradually and therefore no precious data for when this change happened has been given. Our Web 2.0 website allow users to interact and collaborate with each other through social media dialogue as creator of user-generated content in a virtual community. This contrasts the first generation of Web 1.0 era website where people were limited to viewing content in a passive manner. Example of Web 2.0 feature include social networking site or social media site. For example, Facebook, blogs, wikis, tagging keyboards on website and likes, video sharing site, example, YouTube, image sharing site, example, Flickr, hosted services, web application apps, collaborative consumption platform, and mashup applications. Whether Web 2.0 is a substantive- substantially different from prior web technology has been changed by World Wide Web inventor Tim Berners-Lee, who described the term as jargon. His original vision of the web was a collaborative medium, a place where we all meet and read and write. On the other hand, the term semantic web, sometimes referred to as Web 3.0, was coined by Berners-Lee to refer to a web of content where the meaning can be processed by machines. Web 1.0 is a referring to the first stage of the World Wide Web's evolution from roughly 1991 to 2004. According to Kermode and Krishnamurthy, content creators were few in Web 1.0, with vast majority of users simply acting as consumer of content. Personal web pages were common, consist mainly of static pages hosted on ISP, run web servers, or on free web hosting services such as Tripod and defunct GeoCities. With Web 2.0, it became common for average web user to have social networking profiles on sites such as MySpace and Facebook. The personal blog sites like Blogger, Tumblr, and LiveJournal through either a low-cost web hosting services or through a dedicated host. In general, content was generated dynamically, allowing reader to comment directly on page in a way that was not common previously. Some Web 2.0 capability were present in the day of Web 1.0 but were implemented differently. For example, a Web 1.0 site may have had a guest book page for visitor comments instead of comment section at the end of each page, typically of Web 2.0. During Web 1.0, server performance and bandwidth had to be considered. Lengthy comment thread on multiple pages could potentially slow down an entire site. Terry Flew, in his third edition of New Media, described the difference between Web 1.0 and Web 2.0 as a Move from personal website to blog and blog site aggregation, from publishing the participation, from web content as the outcome of large upfront investment to an ongoing and interactive process, and from content management system to link based on tagging website content using keywords. Few believe these factors from the trend the result in the onset of the Web 2.0. Characteristic some common design element of a web static page instead of dynamic HTML, content provide from the server, file system instead of a relational database management system RDMS, programming language such as Perl, PHP, Python, or Ruby. The use of HTML 3.2 era elements such as frame and table to position and design element on a page. These were often used in combination with space GIFs, proprietary HTML extensions such as the Bling and Marquee tags introduced during the first browser war, online guestbook, GIF buttons, graphics, promoting web browsers, operating system, text editor, and various other products. HTML forms sent via email. Support for server-side scripting was rare on shared server during this period. Uh, to provide a feedback mechanism or website visitor, Mito were used. A user would fill in a form and upon clicking the form's submit button, their email client would launch and attempt to send an email containing the form detail. The popularity and the complication of the mail to protocol lead browser developers to integrate email client into their browsers. Web 1.0 sites are not interactive. The term Web 2.0 was coined by Darcy Nicky. Okay, technology. The client-side web browser technology used in Web 2.0 development include Ajax and JavaScript framework. Ajax programming uses JavaScript and the document object model DOM to update selected region of the page area without undergoing a full page reload to allow user to continue interacting by the page. Communication such as data requests going to the server are separate from data coming back to the page. Otherwise, the user would have to routinely wait for the data to come back before they were to anything else on the page. Just as a user have to wait for the pages to complete the reload. These also increase the overall performance of the site as the sending of request can complete it quicker independent of blocking and queuing required to send data back to the client. The data fetches by and adjusts request to typical format in XSL, XML, or JSON, JavaScript object notation, format to widely used structured data formats. Since both of these formats are natively understood by JavaScript. A programmer can easily use them to transmit structured data in their web applications. When this data is received via Ajax, the JavaScript program then uses the document object model to dynamically update the web page based on the new data. On the new data, allowing the rapid and interactive user experience. In short, using this technique, web designers can make their page function like desktop applications. For example, Google Docs use this technique to create a web-based word processor. As a widely available plug-in independent of W3C standard, the World Wide Web Consortium is the governing body of web standard and protocol. Adobe Flash is capable for doing many things that were not possible pre-HTML5. Of Flash's my capability to most commonly use its ability to integrate streaming multimedia into HTML pages. With the introduction of HTML in 2010, at the growing concern with the Flash's security, the role of Flash is decreasing. In addition of Flash and Ajax, JavaScript Ajax framework have recently become a very popular means of creating Web 2.0 sites. At their core, these frameworks using the same technology as JavaScript, Ajax, and the DOM. However, framework smooth over inconsistencies between web browser and extended the functionality available to developers. Many of them also come with a customizable prefabricated widget and accomplish such common tasks as picking a date from a calendar, displaying a data chart, or making a tabbed panel. On the server side, the Web 2.0 use many of the same technology as Web 1.0. Languages such as Perl, PHP, Python, Ruby, as well as Enterprise Java and Microsoft .NET Framework are used to develop via output data dynamically using information from the JSON. When data is available in one of these formats, another website can use it to integrate a portion of that site functionality. Concept W2.0 can be described in three parts: rich internet application, web oriented architecture, or social web. Rich Internet Application (RIA) define the experience brought from desktop to browser, whether it is rich from a graphical point of view, or a usability, or interactivity, or feature point of view. Web-oriented architecture (WOA) define how Web 2.0 applications expose their functionality so that other applications can leverage and integrate the functionality, providing a set of much richer applications. Example are feeds, RSS feeds, web services, mashup. Third one is social web. Define how Web 2.0 websites tend to interact each more with the end user and make the end user an integral part of the website, either by adding his or her profile, adding comment on content, uploading new content, or adding user generated content. Personal digital photo is an example of it. As such, Web 2.0 drives together the capability of client and server side software, content syndication, and the use of network protocol. Standard-oriented web browser many use plug-in and software extension to handle the content and user interaction. Web 2.0 site provide user with information storage, creation, and dimension capability that were not possible in the environmental knowing as Web 1.0. Web 2.0 sites include the following features and techniques referred to as the Increment Slate by Andrew McCaffrey. Thank you.